Hello everyone, it's me, Natalie. Welcome to my channel, Find Joy in the Journey. I would like to start off by first and foremost saying welcome to my new subscribers. And I did reach my 1,000 subscriber mark. It's a milestone and I am so pleased. I'm so happy. Thank you guys for subscribing to my channel and joining me on this journey. My name is Natalie, right? I'm in my grow zone is 9A. I'm in Southeast Louisiana. I always say that I'm in the West Baton Rouge area. Most people are familiar with Baton Rouge. Well, I'm in West Baton Rouge. Okay. And my grow zone is 9A. Right now, we're experiencing mildly cold temperatures. But a few days ago, we had some rain, and it rained really, really heavy for a few days. And I have to admit, it did cause some damage to some of the plants in the garden. And today I will be kind of removing the damaged plants. And so I haven't really gone through every single thing like I've done in the past. You know how I always do my garden inspection or my garden walkthrough every morning. Because of the weather, it hasn't been very pleasant. And it's really hard to, you know, come out here and try to maintain a garden in the colder temperatures, right? So uh, I'm trying to make sure I don't get sick. Okay. So I'm not going to be out here long, but what I do in the garden, I will share with you. And one of the things I'm going to be doing is removing some of the damaged plants that was damaged by rain. So I knew that rain was coming. The day before the rain, it had forecast it was going to rain, and it said 100%. So for about 2 days, maybe 2.5 days, we got a lot of rain. The garden was heavily saturated. So I didn't come out. I would come out briefly and just kind of look at everything, and I knew there would be damage. So I just kind of had a made up mind that, this is to be expected. When you have a lot of rain, it can cause damage to your plants. We all know that. It's waterlogged. It is just saturated. And especially with these leafy greens, it can cause damage. I did a large harvest. If you've seen the video, the title is The Burden of Abundance, where I harvested a ton of mustards and collards and also lettuce, but that was done on purpose. I knew that the rain was coming, and I knew that those heavy rains could cause damage, and I didn't want to lose my greens, right? So, but in removing the leaves, at first it was like a large canopy of leaves. And when it would rain, the rain would just kind of bounce off the leaves, and some of the rain would get down there in the bed. But for the most part, the canopy of leaves kind of protected the soil and the stems. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. It protected the actual stem of the plant, that main stem. But because of the fact I had removed the leaves, it kind of left the stems exposed. And we're going to go down here and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about, especially over in this bed over there where the mustards are. I'm going to show you what I'm referring to. But of course, hey, I removed it and I took them inside. I stored my collards, I stored my mustards and my lettuce. But also the rain damaged the plants that were left in the bed. So let's walk around and look at that. And then there's another area where not necessarily damaged by rain, it was damaged by insects. And I think I'm ready to give up on that plant. So it's like, I don't want a plant that's kind of just riddled with holes, insect holes. They just really kind of demolished that particular cabbage plant, and I think I want to remove it from the bed, maybe place something else there. I feel like any empty spot, I can just leave it empty, or put something else in its place. So that's what I'm trying to decide what I want to do. But for sure, there are certain areas where I'm going to uproot those plants because they're badly damaged, and there is something else that I can place there. So I will be doing that. Okay, you guys. So now I'm going to start the walkthrough. And a good place to start, let's start by looking at some of the things that was actually damaged by the heavy rains. Like I said, we had several days where it just poured down and some of the plants was damaged, and I start right here with the lettuce. Now I harvested the lettuce. I will say that I was able to harvest my butter crunch lettuce, and so I didn't lose anything. I didn't lose anything, but you know how you leave some leaves on the plant so it can regrow? Lettuce, the collards, the mustards, that is a cut and come again type of plant. And you leave some leaves on the plant so it can regrow. So that's what I tried to do with the lettuce, but what was left over in the bed after my harvest got badly damaged, and pretty much some of it has actually turned to mush. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I would like to clear that right there, that lettuce, I'm going to leave it there because that is actually a different variety. That is the Great Lakes head lettuce, but the rest of it, the butter crunch right here, that's going to come out. I'm going to remove that. You can also see over here right next to it where I have a cabbage. This is a Ruby Perfection, my red cabbage. There's some leaves here that can be removed. So that's what I'll be doing today. I'm going to come out, inspect everything, and remove damaged leaves off plants that is still growing and still healthy. But areas where it's too badly damaged, I'm going to uproot that and clear that area out. In this area where this lettuce is, I do have some onions. I have a couple of onion sets that I would like to plant in this area. Next to it is the collards. You remember in that video where I did my big collard and mustards? I did a big harvest of that. Just last week I did that. I knew the rain was coming. So what I did is I did a big harvest of all my collards. It was way overdue. All my mustards. I got my broccoli. I got my peas. I got my lettuce. So nothing went to waste. I was able, nothing, what you see left, it may have been damaged, but the lion's share of it was I was able to process and bring it inside. I just want to specify that. So what you see, this is what was left over, what I left in the garden bed, to remain growing. And I want to take a close look. Let me show you some of the plants that was damaged. You see this? Like this is complete mush. Okay, so I can probably remove this. And I will say this, excuse me. This area of the raised bed, these are my old collards. I say they're old because this is what I planted out late August. Late August. So these collards have been growing in this bed since late August. And I have harvested from these collards at least 5 times. And every time it was an abundance. It was a large, large harvest. Next to it over here, these are the newer collards. These collards are much younger. And I think I should just go through, look and see where there's damage, remove any damaged leaves, and then let it continue to grow. These plants are so resilient. Plants are more resilient than you think. It has to be really serious damage for it not to regrow and continue to thrive. It has to be like severe root damage, or maybe insects have just completely demolished the plant, or in this case where over here it's just completely turned to mush because it was just waterlogged. In the case of the lettuce over here too, where we just have just soggy, look, you saw that? You saw how I just, this is what I'm referring to, okay? Other than that, I feel when you have damage like that from rain, from the elements, that can't be avoided. That can't be avoided. You just remove it and start again. My cauliflower, I still have some very ugly looking leaves. You see there? But I want to show you this. You see that, you guys? Beautiful. This is snow crown. Snow crown. This is my first time growing cauliflower. I am going to remove the ugly leaves. Just, like that one, like towards the bottom. I'm hesitant to remove them at all because it's not really harming anything. I don't know if it's a disease or just leaf damage. So that's my first time growing cauliflower. Not really sure. Look at the difference. Look at the healthy leaves in the middle, but then you look at those outer leaves, they're damaged, they're tattered. I might remove them and just go ahead and do away with those ugly leaves. But I don't want to take off too many leaves. That's what I'm saying. These leaves, the healthy leaves in the middle, I can keep those. Okay, you guys, I don't want to make a long video, so I'm walking through, and you guys are walking through with me. I'm looking at this with you for the first time. Okay, right here, I have more broccoli florets. This is my destiny broccoli. I've already harvested the main crowns in this area. So anything that comes from the plant now are going to be those side shoots of broccoli florets. And so that's what I'm seeing now, that now my destiny broccoli it's producing more little broccoli florets, the little side shoots. It looks pretty healthy in there. I'm going to dig through real good and make sure there's nothing, too bad in here. I think we're okay. And then I'll harvest those florets. Let's see. Is that a bug? Right there. Maybe I don't know. All right. Right here. I'm trying to go quickly, you guys. Right here I have 2 cabbages. This is Cheers cabbage. These are the older cabbage. They've been here for a while. They're not getting any larger. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove these cabbages. And more onions are going to go right here. As you can see, I already have one little onion over yonder. But I'm going to harvest these 2 small cabbages, uproot them, take the root out, and I'm going to revitalize the soil over here. And I'm going to plant more onions right there. Right here I have 2 more cabbages. I'm trying to remember if these are Bonnie's Best, and I think it is. If it's not Bonnie's Best, it looks like Bonnie's Best to me. This would be Cheers, more Cheers cabbage. But these 2 cabbages are growing well. I don't see any damage from the rain. Move right over here. My red mustards are at the end of this bed. Looks like I can just go in and do a quick little trim of any ugly leaves and be done with it. My broccoli over here, this is Destiny broccoli, and looks like it's growing fine. I see just a few little yellow leaves at the bottom, so the rain didn't harm my broccoli in this bed. Over here were these mustards. Now normally when I come to the end of this bed and you see the mustards, it's huge, abundant leaves. I did a harvest, so I have my mustards. The mustards are secure. I did that harvest right before the rains came, so anything that's left may have sustained damage. So that's what we're looking at. I see a lot of little ugly yellow leaves down there like this. This is complete mush. So I can go in there and remove that, remove this little stem here. You see that? Remove this little stem here. Look, it's it's falling apart as I touch it. That can be removed. And I say removed, but I probably can just cut it down all the way down. I don't want to I don't want to go in there and try to pull it up or uproot it because it may mess with the root of the plant that's still growing next to it. So I'm just going to cut it. Just cut it down. Look at this. You see? But there's still leaves growing right here. There's still healthy leaves. I'm trying not to make it too. Let me move this out of the way. Okay. Can you see that? So these leaves at the top are still growing healthy, but this looks a little ugly. But it still may grow healthy mustards. So I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to clean up around it. And like I said, things like that, I'm just going to cut it down. I'm not going to try to go in there and dig up the root because it may disturb the roots next to it. This is more mustards in this raised bed. You see a little ugliness here and there, but it's still growing strong. My celery. Now we can get a good look at the celery since I've done that harvest. Since I harvested the mustards were so big, they would cover up my celery over there. So when I harvested the mustards from this area, now you can see down in the raised bed, lots of airflow. But also, it's not covering my celery. So you can get a good look at my celery. Now this isn't the small little cutting celery. These will be full whole stalks of celery. I grow it every season. It's going to be those stalks like you get, that bundle that you get out of the grocery store. That's what they look like. Okay, so I have my peas over here. Just to show you one of them. You see the shell is a little bit transparent. So you can kind of see, look, nice and strong. Look how the stem looks. Nice thick stem. So the peas are looking good. In the middle, this is French thyme. Right here in the middle. French thyme. And it's really, I have that there to kind of keep away insects. You know what I'm noticing though? I want to say there's still some carrots. There's still a few carrot seeds. That's a carrot right there. There's still a few carrot seeds in that bed. These two cabbages are doing fine. These are definitely Cheers cabbage, I remember. Let's see. Yep, here's the tag. These are definitely Cheers cabbage. But this one here at the end, I was trying to determine if I wanted to keep this one or not. It looks like it's just the outer leaves that are bad. But other than that, it seems like it's still growing. I'm feeling the head is still forming in there. Just to show you what caused that damage, look at that. Can you see? You see down in there? He's dead because he's been sitting in that same spot like that. Notice that white powder that's on there. That is my garden dust. So I sprinkled this entire plant with garden dust. Now it has rained on it, so that's why you see the garden dust kind of collecting in a puddle at the base of the plant. But I treated that whole entire area with the garden dust. You can see it all over here. See down there? Okay. I'm going to let it, I was going to uproot that plant, but I'm not. Because I'm looking at the middle, that head in the middle, not crown. The head in the middle is still growing strong. It's just those outer leaves that look bad. So I'm going to let it stay there. So I think it'll be a good idea to just let it continue to grow and not worry about those tattered leaves. because I think the actual main head in here is going to be fine. May not get too large though. Okay, since I'm right near it, let's look at the Brussels sprouts. If you look closer, the Brussels sprouts, the little sprouts are beginning to grow. This plant gets really, really large. That's why I gave it enough space so it can grow as large as it needs to get. And it's in its own little individual area. Look, I just threw my little tomato plant and I wanted it out so it can get some sun and fresh air. I brought it out of the shed. So, and as you can see, I have tomatoes. I've already harvested some tomatoes, but there's still tomatoes on this plant. It isn't indeterminate. So if I can keep it healthy and safe and strong, I'll be ahead of my tomato game in spring. More Brussels sprouts right next to it over here. Okay, like I said, that tomato plant's just hanging out there temporarily. All right, over here, more cabbages, and these cabbages look pretty good. I don't see any insect damage. So even the little damage you see on there, that's not insect damage. Some red cabbage in there too. My broccoli, still growing. Should be more side shoots, but these leaves are edible. I was considering starting to harvest the leaves, the healthy leaves that are on there, because I've harvested several. I've harvested the main crown sometime last month or even before then, and I have been harvesting the side shoots from these broccoli plants. This is the green magic over here. So I've been oops, see, here's one. So there's more side shoots coming. So these plants aren't done yet. I'll let them continue to grow, but I will start to harvest the leaves. I'd like to try that. I want to see how they taste. You cook them just like you do a collard green. Another red cabbage right here, and then more celery. Got me some strawberries here. These are Chandler strawberries. They're doing well. Right here, my carrots are growing. My carrots are growing. Over here too. They have a ways to go. More cabbages right here. We have two Bonnie's Best, and then there's a Cheers. So the two ones on the outer row here, those are the Bonnie's Best, and that one is a Cheers. So I've already harvested about 3 cabbages. Matter of fact, that's what I cooked for Thanksgiving. I cooked 2 large cabbages. And then there was one that I ate way before. The day that I harvested, I think I cooked that one. But then I had 2 others in the refrigerator, and that's what I cooked for my Thanksgiving dinner. Then I have broccoli over here. Look at these beautiful leaves. Now these leaves can be harvested. The broccoli, let's see if it's starting to develop the little crowns yet. Yep. You see that? This is Destiny. There's Destiny and Green Magic mixed in here. So some of these are Green Magic and some are Destiny. They're labeled. See, like that's a Destiny right up front. Green Magic is a larger one right over there. That has to be a Green Magic. This is my first time growing broccoli in a grow bag. The other times where I grew broccoli was either in a raised bed or in a planter or a container, like a plastic tote container. Look. See that? Back up so you can see how beautiful and large it is. All right. I have potatoes here. There's red Norland potatoes. Over here is, I think, a Kennebec right here. They're growing well. When the time comes, I will heal up, and that just means I'm going to add more straw or more soil or compost, but give the plant more soil for more potatoes to grow. That's what healing up is. I'm just going to add more soil or even straw. I can just add a whole nother layer of straw in there. That works too. And then I have onions here. I'm really concerned with them getting too wet. But my onions here, garlic there, and elephant garlic in here. And then I have more onion sets over there. So that's pretty much the whole walkthrough. There are some lemons that I really would like to harvest. They've been out here so long, but I still see some green. But I think that one right there, that one is ready to come off. I think I may harvest that today. But let me get started, you guys. That's pretty much the walkthrough. There's one area that I'm hesitant to go over there because there's a surprise over there. I'll give you a quick little peek. You see that? That's something I want to share with you guys later. So it's Christmas decorations. I know you guys can see it. But that's something, I'm going to do a lot more decorating throughout the garden. It's something I'm doing with Vegega. I am a Vegega affiliate, and I've kind of partnered with them on a little project for Christmas where I'm doing some Christmas themed decorations. So that's what you see, a glimpse of that over there is my little decorations over there. We're going to save that for later because I'm going to do more beds. I'm going to do a few more beds. So that's another reason why I want to get out here and clean things up and make it look a little better, because I will be doing some decorating for the holidays and I want everything to look nice. But I tell you what, since we're doing the garden walkthrough now, I don't want to make the video too long, so I might do the planting of the onions in a separate video. But to tell you what I'm going to do, again, in this area, I'm going to clear that area, and I'm going to harvest those 2 cabbages over there. And in those 2 areas, those 2 empty spaces, that's where I will plant out my onions. I'll show you the onions that I'm referring to. And then I'm going to go ahead and call it quits. I don't want to make a video that's way too long. Okay? All right, you guys, this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to plant these onions out. So in that area that I showed you, I'm going to clear that space out, amend the soil, and get it ready for these onions. All right, you guys, so I'm going to do 2 separate videos. I'm going to end this one here. So we did the walkthrough. We checked out all the damage that the rain caused. Not so bad. It's not as bad as I thought, and I'm really happy about that. So now, video 2, second part of the video, I will actually go in there, clear out the beds where I'm going to plant my onions, and also do a little maintenance and just get rid of those little ugly damaged plants and damaged leaves. And that'll be video part 2. Okay, so I'm going to stop now and just say goodbye, you guys, and stay tuned for part 2 of this video. Okay, bye now. Thank you for tuning in.